Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back once again here to the Motherboards.org YouTube channel. I'm Elric Ferris, your host. You guys should know me by now. Today, we're going to bring you guys the full review of the new Gigabyte Z68XP-UD3-iSSD. Now, what makes this motherboard so special? Well, this motherboard is the first to have Intel's Smart Response technology and integrate a 20 gigabyte SLC SSD right onto the motherboard. So what this does, this actually helps any of your standard hard drives run in a pseudo type RAID array for much better access speeds and for faster to access times. So now let's jump right in. Let's see what this motherboard's about. Let's see the features, let's look at the performance, and at the end of the day, always why you'd want to put this motherboard into your system. Jumping right into the motherboard, we can see that it's got a pretty cool layout. It's got their blue and white natural scheme on board, and this is also their ultra durable 3 motherboard series. This motherboard features 2 times the copper of a normal PCB, which lasts longer on the motherboard, making it a very good board. It also has Japanese solid capacitors, it has their new driver MOSFET, and it also has low ferrite chokes all around that you can see right here. These are the capacitors and the chokes. You can see there's cooling there as well. Altogether, there are 4 fan connectors on the board. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. As far as your power goes, we have 2 sets of power. We have one here for your 24 and your 8 pin, which is around here. It's kind of around the back. I'll try to do the motherboard that you see. The biggest thing that everybody's going to want to know though is this little thing right here. Now, this right here is the onboard SLC SSD. There's a 20 gigabyte Intel jobber, and it's a pretty good part. As you can see, it's something totally different than any other motherboard. Up here around the ZIF socket, you can see there's plenty of room. Actually, all and around here's a lot of room for big heat sinks and fans. Even if your memory's in here, you should have plenty of clearance for everything to go in here. You get 32 gigabytes of DDR3 dual channel memory. The 8 gigabyte sticks will be coming soon, so you'll be able to take advantage of those no problem. You can see both the MOSFET and the South Bridge are both totally cooled, so you've got nice cooling there. Now, this motherboard supports both SLI and Crossfire. Now, we have 2 of the 16X PCIe 16 slots right here. Then we have 2 of the standard old school PCI slots here, and we have 3 of the PCI 1X slots. Now, I don't really know why there's so many of these little slots right here when these actual slots will actually do the job and have the option of going faster, but that's how Gigabyte did the design, so there we go. We're gonna look around over here. These are all controlled by the Intel controller right here. These are all SATA 2. Then right here we have the Marvell controller. This is SATA 3. One thing to take note of, it says in SATA 2 port 5 that if you have your eSATA enabled, this port will not work. So obviously those two must share the same I/O, so they're going to conflict. I'm going to spin the board over right here. You can see here's where everything connects into the board. We have a USB 3.0 breakout box here. You have another panel thing here. All of your wiring connection from the case is done here. I'm actually going to try to move this up just a little bit closer to the camera so you guys get a closer look at that. Flip it around. Now you guys will see it still says ATI Crossfire X here. So you can see that's right there on there, and even though the company's been changed to AMD, it's funny how all these PCBs still have this stuck on there. You can see the serial ATA 6 gigabyte, their ATI Crossfire, the NVIDIA SLI, all right there. Sound on board, it's the Realtek. It features 109 dB sound. It's high quality for watching Blu-rays and all that. That's pretty good. So now we're going to move on to the rear I/O. And we're going to take a look here. It's pretty cool. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 USB 2.0 ports. We have the old school legacy PS2 keyboard mouse port. For the sound, we start off, we have digital. This is the SPDIF. Right here, we have the IEEE Firewire, the standard connection. Now, the Z68 chipset also supports video on board, and the video out is right here. This is the HDMI out. This will connect to any of the TVs and monitors that are out right now. We also have 2 of the USB 3.0 ports here as well. We have a single LAN port, and then we have the 7.1 analog audio here. So that's about it. You see the rear I/O. You guys see the board. Now we're going to move on to the performance of the board, and there'll be a couple different things that we're going to show you. We're going to show you performance against other boards, and then we're going to show you also performance using the new Intel Smart Response technology that's actually built into the board via this little jobber right here. So now we've taken a really close look at the Gigabyte Z68XP-UD3-iSSD. And this motherboard's coming to market at about $229. Let's take a look at that. For one thing, a 20 gigabyte SSD drive, the type that's on here, would be about $100 anywhere on the market. And you're getting that technology right embedded onto the motherboard. Now, that's got both its positive and negative factors. The positive factors is it's right on the motherboard. You can use the technology and use the smart response stuff right out of the box, hook up your standard hard drive that you've got right to it, get up and going. The bad thing is, though, is if that fails, you're going to have to RMA your entire motherboard and you'll probably lose all of your information. Now, that's not saying if you were using even, an off-board one that wouldn't happen as well, but this being on board means that you would have to sacrifice the motherboard to turn back. But those two things kind of outweigh. The fact that it's an SLC SSD and not an MLC means the technology should last a lot longer. That was one of the big factors, the fail rates on those other ones. Even though the time rates were, I think, phenomenal, these ones seem to have a lot longer shelf life. The motherboard performs well within the standards of all the other motherboards we've seen from the Z68 and offers a lot of features. So across the board, I have to say, the board is feature filled. Got a lot of good stuff on board, got all Gigabyte's own features as well on there. You've got the SLC SSD embedded on board, coming to market at $229, supports all of Intel's latest second generation i-Core CPUs, i7, i5, and i3, 32 gigabytes of RAM, SLI, and Crossfire. All in all, I gotta say, for new technology on board, I gotta say, this is an editor's choice board here at Motherboards.org. If you're looking to jump into an Intel system and you're looking to use smart response technology, this is a really cool, innovative idea. Welcome to the new tomorrow.